Extraterrestrials, strange phenomena, missing persons, lost continents, myths, and monsters. We examine these mysteries to determine, are they bullshit or not?
Those women don't want anything to do with you. You guys think, and this is just your subtle racism, I want to talk to you passport bros very seriously because I'm a little concerned about you. So you men that are so unattractive to the women here, you think you're going to grab your passport, head down to Colombia and find yourself a wife short days that you're there? Let me explain to you how that's probably going to shake out for you. You're probably going to go to Colombia, Medellin, Bogota, Cartagena, and you're probably going to go to Colombia, Medellin, Bogota, Cartagena, and you're going to end up acting like an absolutely obnoxious American, drawing all kinds of attention to yourself, and you probably don't speak a word of Spanish, so everyone's going to know you're American, everyone's going to know you have money, and it'll be probably 15 minutes before you're taken for everything. They're going to take your phone, they're going to take your money, and they're going to leave you stranded in a neighborhood that you can't even fathom in your wildest nightmares. The other possibility is any Colombian woman willing to marry you, right, on sight unseen and leave her country is going to be very desperate. And you know what else desperate people are? Survivors. They know how to survive. So you're going to get this desperate woman to move here with you, and she might marry you. She'll probably get pregnant by you. And as soon as that happens, and as soon as she's got rights to half your stuff, you know what she's going to do?
What's she going to do?
Leave you. She's going to go right back to Colombia, and she's going to take your alimony that's 4,000 to 1, their money, and she's going to live like a queen, thanking you every step of the way. Stop looking at the developing world like it's your personal sandbox, like it's your playground. It isn't. Human beings. And if you can't get a 10 in the U.S., you can't get a 10 in Colombia either. I've been to Colombia. Those women don't want anything to do with you. Okay. Nothing. You guys think, and this is just your subtle racism.
Hey, come back here, my truck. Come here, son. Come here, give me that truck back. It's bad change.
Sorry, bro. I'm all out, man.
Man, I got these cheeseburgers, man.
I don't want any cheeseburgers.
Please, man. I suck your dick. It's bad change.
Sorry, bro. I'm all out, man.
Man, I got these cheeseburgers, man.
I don't want any cheeseburgers.
Please, man. I suck your dick.
Fuck you. Oh, fuck you, fuck you. Fuck you, fuck you. Fuck, 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 fuck.
I bet you're wondering why I'm showing you a picture of Hugh Grant. Yeah, Hugh Grant, the actor, right? I think he got an Academy Award for some shit. You know, he was real popular in the fucking 90s and the 2000s and shit, you know, internationally. Did this shit with Julia Roberts' bird-looking ass called Notting Hill. You know? Yeah, this is Hugh Grant. He's an actor from the UK. From England, I guess you'd say. And, well, you know, back in the day, he was busted. He was busted on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, getting topped off by a prostitute. Okay, yeah, he was getting topped off by this black prostitute, and there was a big scandal and shit. Okay, and it threw shade on the criminal element. The Vice was hot on the streets after this and shit, because at the time he was dating Elizabeth Hurley, who was like a model and actress and everything, and she was like, you know, she was like the shit, you know, supposedly, you know. But Hugh Grant had lured himself to go. He had lured himself to, you know, trying to get some easy sex. You know, he was trafficking. I guess that's what the corroborative word is. Yeah, he was trafficking and shit with the hooker, you know. And I think he just wanted I think he just wanted a blowjob or something, you know. He didn't want the whole thing. and he was super nervous. So, he got busted and shit. There was a big scandal. They even talked about it on open public and shit. He went on like the Tonight Show, and I don't know, I think it was Jay Leno at the time, busted his balls about it. And they had a little laugh and shit, but on the streets it got real hot for all the hoes. And even the fucking Maxine Waters got in on the act and shit, talking about she vowed to clean up the streets, where she hadn't gave a fuck about it in her, she hadn't gave a fuck about it in her entire tenure, all right? She hadn't gave a fuck about it, right? And I bet you wonder why, I'm showing you a picture, a mugshot of Hugh Grant. His mugshot. What does that have to do with, his other motherfucker, right? What does that have to do with, Scott Bravo, the hedonist, self-described hedonist and Buddhist, and whatever order you assign to it. Well, recently, the Scotty here, Scott, he decided that he was gonna, take black men to task for taking a vacation and shit, and, specifically Colombia. All right, he was talking about how they're gonna get robbed and they don't know the people, they don't know the language, all this bullshit. He's a white guy, right? He's a white dude, maybe I don't know what level. He seems like a failed musician with a substance abuse problem. It seems that way because he exhibits the habits of what we used to call a hype and shit while doing his diatribe running down black men and shit. And so since he did that, and then I went to look up the clip and found that he had closed this page and made it private, and you can only see the clip if you followed him. Now, I wasn't going to lower myself. I was going to act like Hugh Grant and lower myself by, following him on TikTok and shit just to get at the clip and shit. So I went back and secured the clip from another source and pieced it together and shit in an edit, all right? In an edit, at least the first clip anyway. So the Scott Bravo, he's talking trash to black men and talking about how we're taking advantage of a third world country and, our racism, that's part of our racism. And I was like laughing my fucking ass off. I knew he was a hype and shit. I was fucking mad. Want to curse him out and shit. I want to do some other shit to him, put the boots to him, to be quite honest, like straight up, take him underfoot and shit. Treat him like they used to treat the hypes down there on the hood and shit, in Los Angeles, just underfoot there. But, what purpose would that have served? All right, the Scott Bravo is a white man who, you don't get no pushback when he opened these other countries and shit doing God knows what. So, Scott, like Hugh Grant, who was out slumming for some pussy, and I want to tell you guys, I used to work over in West LA where he got busted. I used to work right in that area and shit, right down the street, in a certain place. And I actually saw that prostitute that he got busted with a bunch of times. And she was white men only. She was ghetto as they come with a kid. She was a baby's mama with a kid and shit. And she was white man's only, I don't know if it's her preference or the pimp, whoever's trafficking her. But she got busted and she made like probably $1 million. She made $1 million, right? So talking to like the UK Sun and I think a memoir or something. She did 1 or 2 porns. Did the porn with Ron Jeremy. And that's a wrap, No, she's still around doing stuff. And I think she has an OnlyFans page. If anybody wants to go look at a busted woman past the wall and shit. He used to be a streetwalker and shit. And is now a virtual streetwalker and shit. And her career got a little hot there. And I think she went on Howard Stern and he paid her some money. So she had to come up off Chad and shit. And this motherfucker right here, the Scotty Broff, for all this bullshit talking to black dudes and, improperly using the race card and shit, he should reuse it on himself. I have to say, hey, white boy, what are you doing in Colombia and shit down there? What are you doing down there? How do you know all these things about Colombia? How did you find out about it and shit, okay? How did you find out about it and shit? I think you was down there. I don't think you was just down there trying to find your future wife and vacation and shit, since you're white. I don't think you were down there looking for it. I think you was down there looking for some more nose candy and shit, okay? What are you doing in Colombia? Huh? If you see some black dudes over there doing something, that means you're there too and shit, okay? All right? You're there, and I think you're there for business, okay? But, damn, man. Why you have to be so performative? Then I say, like, about racism and shit, you know, in the colonies here and shit, they have an unnatural and very unhealthy obsession with the you know, not just black people in general, but black men in particular and shit, and their lifestyle and how they have sex and what they do with their money, and you know, they just want to be in here and just look and be nosy and shit. I'm like, why would anything Passport Bros do matter to a white failed musician with a substance abuse problem? Okay, what is your interest in this shit? You should be. I'm telling you, dude. You need to talk to somebody. Okay, you need to go get some help. Okay, you need to go to group. You know, go to CA, Cocaine Anonymous, or whatever the fuck's wrong with you, Drugs Anonymous, and you need to sit your ass down. Okay, you need to sit your ass down and talk to these people and tell them about what you did on social media and how you played the race card with black people and shit, and talking about their inherent racism. All right, what the unbridled hubris and shit. You know, since you're talking about a group of people, you open the door and shit for the activities of your own ancestors, your own lineage and shit, and how they move across the diaspora, and why it would be unsafe in the supposed third world country for people to travel there and vacation and shit and seek pleasure and you know and you know, party and shit, you know, seek food, drink, pleasure, the love of a woman, you know. Why would it be unsafe and shit? Why would you even consider Colombia a third world country and shit? Why would you consider that? You know, it exposes your own ingrained hubris and shit as a, you know, non-melanated entity. Unless I say that, you know, I want to call you a honky, but I don't think the words come back into vogue yet. You know, give it a couple more months before the world ends, and won't be saying that again. All right, Scott? Okay, you have a substance abuse problem. You're a racist motherfucker, and you can kiss my ass and shit, man. Okay? But I want to tell you, before you kiss my ass, there ain't no coke in there, shit, okay? There ain't no opioids on that ass, okay? All right? You know, when I'm looking at you, and I seen, you know, in my line of work and shit back in the day, you look like somebody that uses what they call an 8-ball and shit. Yeah, you look like that shit, you know. I know, motherfucker, I have white friends. One of my late friends was a drug user, and he would use what's called an 8-ball, and I would see him doing that exact same shit. Him and his old lady and shit, they'd be sniffling and shit, wiping their nose incessantly while talking like a mile a minute, like you were doing. Oh, Scotty, you know, Scotty doesn't know.
Is you is or is you ain't my baby? The way you acting lately makes me down. You is still my baby, baby. Seems my fling in your heart's done gone out.
This message has been paid for by the Dusties. Yes, the niggas you love to hate.